Assalamu alaikum to all your listeners.
Wa alaikum salam.
Namaste, Sat Sri Akal. Yeah, man, this is really cool to. You guys have such robust Asian radio scene in the UK. I'm jealous. You know, we don't have that in America.
We do. You know what? I've been aware of you. I can't even remember how long. The first time I came across you, Azhar, was when I think it was a special that you did called. I think it was called Square the Circle.
Yeah, I had a comedy album. Yeah,
I remember that, and the whole,
Wow.
Islam was spread by the sword. It's not cream cheese that it was spread by the sword on your bagel, and Uncle, let me explain you, and all of that.
Oh my God, this is a throwback.
I remember.
These are deep cuts.
Yeah,
deep cuts, man. Thank you.
And,
you know, it's been amazing. I'm on this tour right now with actually a British charity called Human Appeal.
Yeah.
We did 7 cities in Canada. We're in the middle of a 21-city U.S. tour. We're coming to the U.K. in December, and it's crazy. After the show, so many people will come up and bring up that CD, and these are grown people with married and kids.
Yeah.
And they'll say like, I heard this when I was a kid. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so old. Yeah, man. So I've been hustling for 25 years in comedy. So
and it seems to have gone so fast, and it seems really, kind of watching your trajectory kind of rise over that time, and kind of being one of the first, Muslim stand-up comedians who was talking about Islam, that was openly kind of, talking about Islam and the diaspora and being a Muslim. It's absolutely amazing how over the years we've actually seen the Muslim comedy circuit bloom, but you were there right from the beginning. But let's talk about the new project, Islamic States of America. Where did that come from? Tell me about that.
Well, that's born out of a few different observations. I mean, I feel like America and Islam are like in a rom-com. And, there's all this like faux hatred, but actually there's a lot of genuine curiosity and a mutual attraction. And I think that we're somewhere in Act 2 of this, love story. And my feeling is that, you see what happened in New York City, Zohran Mamdani, despite all the demonization and all the hateration and all the propaganda, he won. And it tells you that the pulse on the street, especially among the young people, is that they are done with all this propaganda. They are interested in the truth. They're interested in hearing from Muslims themselves. What is this teaching all about? What is Islam? One of the observations Raees I had, I've been working in media now for half my life, is that it feels like everybody's talking about Islam. The Islamic this, the Muslim ban, Islamophobia, Muslim countries being invaded and bombed. And it feels like it's in the news all the time. And so on the one hand, it feels like everyone's talking about Islam, and yet nobody's talking about Islam. It's a very secularized world. And so just to get in, the world will go to war over a cartoon of a man, but won't sit down and have a 5-minute conversation about who the Prophet Muhammad is. Peace and blessings of God be upon him. So it's my feeling that people are now at a space has opened up in the culture where people actually are curious. They want to know what this thing is. And so I actually say in the film, there's going to be a mass conversion to Islam in the United States. and don't take it from me. The reason I say that is Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah.
All right. Because there's a card in the game. I swear to God, there's a card in the game that says the unstoppable tide of Islam.
Oh my
and I saw that. I was like, oh my God, how do they know that? That's our secret.
Oh my God.
So that's where, the project is. It's both a personal project. I've lived a lot of life in the last several years. I was in a long-term, almost 20-year marriage, which ended in 2017. I got remarried in 2019. I got a lot of drama with my 4 sons. So it's a personal piece where I talk about that stuff, but also it's a very observational piece about where we are in this moment in time in the culture, globally, in the global monoculture, and certainly the intersection of Islam and the United States.
And it's, it almost feels like we're at a very kind of dangerous place because, stand-up traditionally has always been people saying what people think and people saying the unsayable, whether you go back to people like, Lenny Bruce and George Carlin and, people like that. And at the moment, it almost feels like, forget that debate on the news scene, but even that debate within the stand-up scene and the comedy scene, with Jimmy Kimmel and stuff like that, is being shut down. Is comedy? I mean, how do you tackle these issues in a space where you're almost being throttled?
It's a good question. I mean, I look at media, more conceptually, right? What is media? Media is to me a form of unreality, and it's a form of manufactured unreality. And so, I don't know how old you are, but I think most of our lifetime, it was basically corporate media and public media. And the wild card is, of course, the rise of social media. So even when you talk about, someone like Kimmel, for example, he can get canceled on corporate media, but meanwhile, the very ideas that he's being canceled for or that he's being attacked for are totally trending on social media. Many of the talking points which are banned and banished from corporate media are actually the most popular topics on social media. And so I would argue that, we're in this very decentralized kind of period because of the internet, because of social media, because of smartphones. Everybody now can have their own radio station, right? Yeah. Everybody's got a podcast. You can make content on your phone and put it on the internet for the whole world to hear. So I think that right now we're in this interesting time where the more the powers that be try to throttle any particular conversation or try to snuff out a particular talking point, it actually just causes it almost like whack-a-mole to just rise on social media. 100%. And again, back to young people, it's a generational thing. I mean, young people are not watching the nightly news. They're not even watching Hollywood content. They're watching YouTubers. They're watching podcasters. They're watching social media personalities. They're watching TikTokers. So I just feel like we're in this very interesting inflection point. And, I'm doing this project really as an experiment. I didn't even call it a comedy special. I called it an experimental stand-up comedy film. Yeah. Because it has mostly black and white stand-up in it, and then it has these scripted vignettes, which explore more of the personal side. So anyway, it's an experiment. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited to finally put out a solo stand-up project. I've never done that since that comedy album, believe it or not, over 20 years ago. I've gotten to work on a bunch of comedy specials for other people, but I've never put out, something of my own. So we shall see. We shall see how things unfold.
Inshallah. Well, you know what? I've been wanting to speak to you for so long, and it's so sad that we have run out of time because I know you have another station already waiting for you to speak to you. But you are coming to the UK next month for a comedy tour raising funds for Gaza. It'll be amazing if you can join us here in the studio in Manchester. It'll be wonderful to have you here.
Oh, that would be my honor.
Organize something like that. Let's do that.
That would be my honor, man. Thank you. And before we break, I do want to just shout out, because you mentioned that I was one of the early ones in this art form, but special respect to Jeff Mirza, who is truly the British pioneer.
The OG.
Yeah, he's the OG, man. I got to give respect. Shazia Mirza is my sister, one of the earliest ones in the game, so I got to give respect to these early pioneers.